Hi there. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about finding balance as an entrepreneur. Now, I do want to give a disclaimer before I get super far into this video that when I talk about seeing things on Instagram, I'm not talking about one singular account. I don't even have a person in mind. It's just the kind of content I have been seeing in terms of advice people are giving entrepreneurs across the board on bigger accounts that have that thought leadership to millions of people out there. And so I just want to give my opinion on kind of work life balance and where I've fallen on the scale and what I still struggle with. And so please take my opinions with a grain of salt. Take what lands for you, leave what doesn't. If what I'm talking about is kind of the right thing for you, then definitely go that direction. I'm not here to try and change anyone's mind. I'm just here to offer honest reflections and where I've fallen into different mindsets over the past couple years and how I feel like it's been harmful to consume content like this and how I think that things can be more beneficial in the industry. So let's go ahead and get started. So, just an introduction here. I've really struggled over the past couple years finding the balance between working and not working. And the reason for this is I'm an online entrepreneur, like most of you are. And being an online entrepreneur, you really don't have defined work hours. Like, you're working a corporate job and you clock in and you clock out. Um, and you're not in like a work office either. So for me, I can always be working. Like as long as I have my laptop, I can work. And so trying to define when to start and end work, trying to define what's enough, can be really hard when you're your own boss. There's always more things you could work on as an entrepreneur. And there's always other things you could do when you don't have to be in an office. So I've just seen a trend lately online, kind of in both directions. And I'll probably get to this further in the presentation, but I've seen one side of the pendulum swing to, the more you work, the more you're going to achieve. If you're working every day, you're going to achieve more. If you're not putting in, 90 hours a week, I don't know, like just kind of that thought process of like work harder, work harder, work harder. And it's easy for me to fall into that trap, just being self aware of, I don't really have a lot of other things going on in my life right now. And I tend to use work as something where it's like if I am going through a hard time emotionally or other things are happening, like work is kind of the thing I bury myself in. So falling into that workaholism, I think, is really easy for me to do. And then there's the other trend where people are kind of like, oh, I just, worked 2 hours today and made six figures, or I'm a seven-figure business and I only work 5 hours a week. And a lot of people do this with a lot of taste. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a time and place. And I think seeing that freedom is there is so great to be able to um, emulate and be able to work their way up. But I also think that I've seen this done in a way where it's like you started your business 2 months ago and you're able to do this. And I think that's really cool for those people. Like, don't get me wrong. But as an entrepreneur who's been in the game for 3 years now, I just think that it is a lot of work to get to six figures. It is a lot of work to build a business from the ground up. And that path for me right now feels a little bit unrealistic. And if you found a way to do it, like, I don't want to bash you. I wish you success. And I think that's really cool. Like, I wish that I had that as well. But in the same respect, I just want to be like super honest and candid for the entrepreneurs who are out there like grinding it out. Yeah, I haven't found a way to work 4 hours and create a six-figure business. So I guess there's just a lot of shame and guilt on both sides of the equation that I felt personally of like, you know, I'm an entrepreneur and why is it that I don't have this lifestyle where I'm only working a few hours and can like do all these things? Like, have I just not figured it out? And then the other side of me that's like, oh, we need to work harder and never take any time off and just grind it out. So that's just me being perfectly honest about my emotions around things lately. and what I've kind of seen in the industry and how those posts are hitting me and where I want to address things. So I think that these messages are just really conflicting. I think that as a leader in the industry, just recognizing the vulnerability and the ethics surrounding what these messages are portraying to your audience is really crucial. And so I hope that as an entrepreneur, I can take this away in my future, and be able to really empathize with the people who are kind of in the weeds of it, of like, you have a business up and going, and you're trying to find some sort of work life balance. But what I want to be candid about is starting a business isn't easy. And I think that on social media, and I'm guilty of this too, just really showing the glamorous side of things. And that was such a trend for a while. And I kind of went with that too. Like, when I was in Disney World a couple years ago, like posting to my stories, like, oh, like here I am relaxing at the pool, or here I am like spending a full day at Disney. And what I failed to do was show the whole picture of it, of, okay, yeah, but I'm standing in line and I'm sending messages for clients, and I'm at the pool and I have a meeting going on, and so not actually like over here just enjoying a drink at the pool, like I'm working. And to be honest, like I enjoy that. Like I'm not saying that I wish I could, not do that. Like that is what I've chosen to do. But I think that on social media, you just don't see the full picture, and vice versa, right? Like you could be posting pictures of yourself working all day long, um, but you can't, like, you could be not even logged into your computer. So I guess what I'm trying to say is social media doesn't show the full picture. And as content creators, I think we do need to do better about showing, the whole side of things. I don't think that you could just go on vacation and check out of your business for extended periods of time and still have a successful business. But I do think that there is a balance, right? And so anyway, that's all I'm trying to say is I think I've fallen into that trap as well of, okay, we got to show the glamorous side but not the hardworking side, and then the other side around of like, oh, I'm so hardworking, but also just sharing the privilege of being able to work a shorter day or have a day off, in the middle of the week, which is really cool. And so with these contradictory messages on social media, I think it just affects the mindset of, what we're going through. Like I said, when I see those posts about working more and more, like I tend to feel guilty, and that's something that I have to work through. But I also think that that message promotes, a lot of burnout in the industry, and the other way around of like, it's so easy. And I think that makes other entrepreneurs feel like, well, what am I doing wrong? Like, it's supposed to be that easy. I think starting a business is like anything else, right? Like, takes time to get good at things. You have to put a lot of work and effort into it. And just like a corporate job, when you start off, you don't know everything that you know in a couple years. And for me, it's been a lot of readjustment in actually turning this into a full-time job and a business. Like, it really is something that I have to commit to all of the time. And I don't regret it. I love it 100%. But I think that social media shows you a different side of it versus it being something that, you're constantly aware of and constantly checking in on. So anyway, with all of that, I'll kind of share what I've been doing that has helped and where I have to go in this, just for transparency's sake. So one thing that a mentor of mine shared that I really resonated with is just the consistency in showing up. So I don't think it's about these sprints where it's like, okay, I'm going to work super hard for 3 weeks and then take a week off. If you have that scenario going on, that's yours. But I feel like for me, it's just like this consistent thing of every single day, like I do choose to be a business owner. And every single day I do, make choices that affect my business, whether I'm working on my business or not. it really becomes a part of your lifestyle. And so I think just that commitment is really, really important, and just honoring the commitments that you've made to yourself and that you make to your clients. I think it's harder to honor the ones you make to yourself because there's no one, um, like a boss or something, being like, oh, you didn't get this done or whatnot. But I think that the more that I show up and the more I honor commitments to myself, the better I feel in my business and the better results I see. And balancing work and personal life can be really, really tricky. Like I just went through a cycle where I feel like I was working probably too much, but I think that it comes and goes in phases, right? There's going to be cycles where you are working really hard because you have deadlines. There's going to be cycles where your workload is a little bit lighter if you're in between projects and maybe you have more freedom to do things. And of course, you can plan these things out too and let people know, you're unavailable these days, um or just plan to seclude yourself and work for a little bit if that's what you need. But um I don't think it's ever going to be a 9 to 5 where you clock in at 9 and you're off at 5 and you can forget about things. I think there is more to it than that. Yeah, there's so much to it because I think that there's so many pieces that go into owning a business. It's not just the client work you're doing, it's also, figuring out your strategies, your marketing, and then you're learning. And I think there's also times where I've been super inspired and it's a day that I was going to take off and I don't want to take the day off because this is something that I'm just so passionate about that I want to do. And I think that that's okay too. Okay, so experience and growth. So I think with anything else, owning a business is like the more you do something, the better you get at it. So they say to become an expert at something, you put 10,000 hours in. And I think owning a business is a lot like that. The more time you do put into it, the faster you're going to learn and grow. But I don't think that that means you have to put in 10,000 hours in a year. I don't think that that means that you have to put in 10,000 hours right away. I do think that it means that if you are consistent and you keep showing up, then you're going to make it. And in terms of what I was talking about just now, the 10,000 hours, I think if you do put it in such a short period of time, that's where I've seen a lot of people give up or quit because they reach burnout. And I don't think it's about that either. I think that it's about going at a steady pace that you know that you can maintain over a long period of time. And by that, I mean years and thinking 5 years, 10 years down the road, not just this year, this month, this moment. So that's where I think I can improve and the industry can improve in terms of like, we're thinking so small in terms of our goals of like this month, this quarter, this year. And I think it's important to have those goals. But I think that looking at it in terms of the big picture too, of like, I still want to be around here in 5 years and have this business be successful. And I know if I burn out now, then that's not going to happen. I think also just acknowledging other external factors that are impacting work. So, mental health, other things going on in your life, your physical health, your hobbies, all of that. And just recognize that sometimes those things take the priority, and that's okay too. As long as it doesn't override like what you're doing and your commitments to your business. So, I think that sometimes that's underestimated. And I think that when you're growing a business, it really is about the whole person. I think that prioritizing your well being does lead to business success. I know that for me, I'm definitely more productive when I'm feeling good. When I'm feeling good, both physically and mentally and emotionally. And so I think that this is also understated and that plays into your business and that takes time too. So, with all this being said, I think that it's more complicated than just a little formula of, hey, here's how many hours you need to work to be successful, or here's what you need to do to be successful. And I think it's not the black and white that it seems online. It's not, let me work as little as possible and make tons of money. from the get-go. I think that that's totally possible when you build systems and you've already built that audience and done kind of the hard work to set everything up and get people in there to provide services, or if you've built your personal brand. But I don't think that that starts off and stays that way forever. And I don't think it's about trying to burn yourself out and cram everything into just a short amount of time and just work nonstop. I think that you can create more efficiency through processes and routines. And I am really passionate about this as a business owner, being able to provide this to my clients. So, how can we make it so you're on social media less? How can we make it so that, the systems will automate this process and you're not constantly having to be online? I think that that is really important, but I don't ever think that that will cut it down as a one-man show to being able to, clock out of work most of the time. I think it still is a job, and I think you still do have to work at it and learn more. I also think, like I said, mental health, energy levels, mindset, that also takes work, and that's work maybe outside of the business, but it does actually impact the business. And that's what I mean by even the days you're clocked out, like your decisions still impact how your business runs. Because if it's Sunday and, you're not sleeping and you're exerting all your energy, then what happens on Monday when you have your business that you need to run? I think that setting goals is really important, maintaining good health, and just being aware. So, what I've been doing actually is just tracking everything that I'm doing. So, tracking how much I am, engaging for each client, how much I am engaging in my own training, how much I am actively seeking content to consume to help my health, actively writing down how much I'm sleeping using my Fitbit, what I am consuming, both like physically by eating and emotionally, like what kind of YouTube videos I'm watching and everything like that. And so, needless to say, all I'm saying, I guess, in this video is that it's more complex than Instagram posts that I've been seeing around, like, you just need to work more, or you just need to, like, do what I'm doing because you'll have ultimate freedom. Like, I think that building a business, there's so many factors that go into it. And I think the best that we can do is really learn about ourselves and learn about our work patterns and what feels good, and naturally ride those waves of I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need to back down, or I'm feeling really abundant and I want to put more time into this. And just take care of ourselves and take care of our businesses and reach out for support when we need it, and just be really open and honest about our journey so that other people don't feel so alone, and really normalize this uncertainty and structure without having it being super structured, if that makes sense. Just really trying to be honest about where we're at as business owners and how we got to where we were, and showing people that it does require hard work, but it could also be hard work that doesn't burn you to the ground. All right, and with that, the presentation is coming to an end, and I just want to thank you if you did watch this. Please let me know in the comments if you did resonate with any of this. If you want to challenge my beliefs, I'm super happy for that too. Like, if there's something that I'm not seeing here, I'm definitely not the expert. But I am someone who has been doing this for a few years now, so I've learned quite a bit, and I just want to be really open and honest about my processes and what I've experienced as a business owner, so that if someone else is looking at my journey and they are trying to duplicate it, they can kind of see where I started, where I am now, and where I'll be in the future. And if you're catching this down the road, maybe I've figured out more, but I think that just being honest on social media, I want to bring more honesty and transparency to the space of, owning a business isn't always glamorous, and owning a business doesn't mean that all I am is a business owner. I'm a person too. So please like this if you found value in it, and subscribe if you are looking for more tips on being a business owner, lead generation, Kajabi, etc. And I'll see you in the next video.